Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Today is a wonderful day, and I wanted to share some things with you guys on how to analyze the property and how I analyze properties. And one of the tools that I use is very useful, and I think you can guys also use it. And hopefully, this is gonna help you guys out when you're analyzing some of your deals. So let's go right into it. So, analyzing a deal. So this is what I do. Debt service is your taxes, your insurance, your utilities. Your revenue is how much money you collect, your income, your rental income. So I go by what's called a 1% rule. So let's say you guys are shopping around and you, for instance, somebody threw 10 deals on your lap. How do you determine which deal you need to choose? And you need to choose only one deal that's going to be the best possible deal on your cash and cash return. How do you determine, how do you analyze your deals and do it quickly, efficiently? And here's what I do. It's called a 1% rule. It's very useful, and it works amazingly. So for instance, let's take a house that I came across. This property was $119,000. Okay, now that's the price for the property. Now we have rental income is $550. Now that's your rental income. You have expenses. You have your insurance. Tax, insurance, tax, utilities. Utilities is $480. Taxes were, if I remember correctly, was $500, and insurance was tax was $1,650. So the taxes are $1,650, and insurance we have is $500. Okay? All right. Now the total gives us $216 per month. So this is negative $216 per month. That's how much you are bleeding out, or you are coming out of your pocket after all the expenses. So you have $119,000 for the house. Your rental income is $550. Your expenses are, if you combine them, so this is yearly, and yearly. You're gonna times it. You're gonna add them up all together, divided by 12. So this is $216 per month minus $550, and that gives us a total of $300. And I have my cheat sheet somewhere here. That gave me $334 per month cash flow. So is that a good deal? Well, it's not bad, but it also depends on how you look at it. So that's $334 per month. That's your cash flow. Oops. Cash flow with an S, definitely not gonna work. So that's your cash. That's your cash flow money. Okay. Now, how do you determine if this in fact is a good deal? So what I did was I did 3 different options on how I can put this deal together. So let's erase all of this, and I'm going to show you what I did. So it depends on how you look at it, depends on the strategy you decide to choose. So start off with all cash. Let's put the property price, it's $119,000. So example 1, all cash. We came in at $119,000. Okay, so obviously we have no debt. We're paying cash, so we're not paying nobody no interest. We're not paying no monthly payments, obviously. So we have $334 times 12 is $4,008. So what that means is 4,000. This gives you $4,008 $308 per year. That equals 3.3%. That's your cash on cash return. Cash on cash. Would I do this deal at these numbers? It's not bad, but also it depends. What if something changes, guys? What if every year things change? Let's say your utilities go up, your utilities went up, your insurance goes up a little bit. Now you're really on a super slim deal. So a deal like this, honestly, I wouldn't do. I would move on. I would look for another deal unless I'm looking to quickly sell it or do a lease option. That's something I would consider. So let's do a scenario number 2. So first scenario was all cash. Second scenario we're gonna do if we go to traditional bank and we'll take out a loan. And on my scenario here, we're gonna do 90% financing. We're gonna do 90% of the loan we're gonna finance with 10% down. Now that gives us negative $1,968 per year. That's negative. Now, however, there are people out there that do these types of deals. Do I encourage you to do it? No, not really. So here's how these guys do it. So even though you cash flow negative, so let's say $2,000 per year, and you keep this house for 3 years, and that's $6,000, and then you do flip this house and you make $30,000 minus $6,000, that's a $24,000 profit. Not bad. Now, what if, God forbid, we have a bubble? That's a problem. So this way, again, you need to make sure you have other exit strategies. Not 1, not 2, always have 3 exit strategies. So let's go back to this example. So obviously, this is not a good option unless you are the person that does these deals. Now, there are guys out there that have portfolio of a whole bunch of these, and that's their strategy. They cash flow negatively until they sell the property, and then that's when they make the money. But that's risky, and I definitely don't promote that strategy. So let's move on to my last example, and that's going to be a subject to. Subject to existing financing. That's what subject to means. Subject to. Okay? On the subject to deal, we're going with 0 down. Obviously, because subject to, let me explain to you a little bit what subject to is for those that don't know what subject to is. So subject to existing financing is when you're coming into a deal and you're going to do a deal based on existing financing. So you are taking over current payments. What's very important in this strategy is to know what their current debt services are. So that would be your insurance, your taxes, any type of utilities, gas, water, sewer, all of their holding costs, so you can calculate and you know your cash flow. This way you obviously know what your exact cash flow is, and that's going to determine whether or not you want to do this deal. Now, you can, however, combine 2 deals. You can do a subject to, and you can do a lease option. That's another strategy in this deal you could do. So, for instance, we can do, we'll take over the current financing, we'll make the payments to the bank, and the seller deals directly with us. And we'll get a tenant in there for, let's say, the 2 years. We'll do a lease option. Reason why I prefer a lease option over a rent-to-lease, because on a lease option, I remain the owner. I'm the owner, and they are the tenant until they buy the property. When they buy the property, then they have the ownership of the property. When you do a lease, when you do a rent-to-own, you no longer own the property. The person the tenant has the privilege, has the upper hand in this situation because they are now owners of the property, and that's what I don't like. So that's what I prefer to do, a lease option instead of doing a rent-to-own. So when you do go back to the strategy, so you're doing a subject to, and then you're going to combine it with a lease option. So this is good for a person that doesn't have good credit, don't have the money right now for some reason, and they have money coming in at some time. There are exceptions to the rule. There are people that don't qualify for traditional financing, and this would be a perfect opportunity for them to jump in and get a property and pay directly to the seller, who is going to be yourself, or that would be me. And that's it. You're not coming out with any money out of pocket. You're positive. You're cash flowing. You have positive cash flow, and at the end of the lease, you're going to have an option to buy, and that's going to be the profit that you are going to make. And that's pure profit. Your name doesn't go on anything. Nobody checks your credit. You don't have no down payment. And this is my preferred option, is the subject to. It is definitely my preferred in this situation. This is the best strategy, and if you can combine it with a lease option, this would be ideal in this type of a deal. So if you guys have any questions, oh, by the way, I almost forgot. So what is a 1% rule? The most important thing, and I almost forgot to say. So what is a 1% rule? Oops. The 1% rule is, you take the price of the property, you are going to times it by 1%, and that's going to give you $1,190 per month rent. So $1,900 per month divided by 119. If somebody has the calculator, so if you take that down payment, $119,000 times by 1%. That's going to give you $1,000, $190 per month. You're going to divide that by 119,000. That's going to give you, I believe, 0.4. That's 0.4%. In my eyes, that's not a good deal. So if you are, the 0.5 is right where you want to be. That's like the borderline. I like to be the closest as possible to 1%. So as I was saying earlier, when you have 10 deals, somebody throws 10 deals on your lap, and you need to determine which deal you want to pick. That's going to be the most effective and the one that gives you the most cash and cash return. And this is how you do it. You times that monthly income, the monthly rent that you're going to collect. You're going to divide that by the price of the house, and that's going to give you your percentage. So whichever one is closer to 1%, that's obviously going to be the best one for you. However, there are houses that you can go above 1%. Let's say you buy a house for $90,000 and your rent is $1,700, or your rent is $1,500. That's over 1%. Or you buy a 4-unit and you live in one of them and you rent out the other 3. Again, you're going to be over 1%. Those are great, obviously. As soon as you're at 1% or over, it's a no-brainer. Jump on it. It's definitely a good deal. So this is what I use. This is one of the strategies I have learned, and I found it amazing, and it's quick and easy. And how do you find out rent if you don't know what the property rents out for? So what you do is you will call your insurance guy, find out, to give you a quote on that particular property. So you times that by 12. You take that number divided by 12, and that's your monthly insurance amount. And then you can call your broker and find out how much, if you're doing traditional financing, call your broker, find out what kind of rate approximately you're going to get. So this way you can calculate and find out what is your payment with interest would be. So this way you can deduct that off your monthly income, and then you will come up with your determination whether it's at 1% or less. This is how you calculate your this is how you use my example of the 1% rule. Now, it's not really a rule, it's a rule of thumb. Again, it's not legal. And guys, one more thing I forgot to disclose. I am not an attorney, I'm not a CPA, so anything I say, you should guys definitely talk to your attorney and verify everything, because this each state has different rules, different regulations. So I definitely encourage you guys to verify everything before you make any deal. Talk to your lawyer, talk to your title company, do your research, make sure that the property doesn't have any liens against the property. There's so many times when I speak to a seller and they say they only have one mortgage, they have no liens, this is the only price, I mean this is all they have. And when I do a little bit more research, turns out there's a second mortgage, or there is a lien, mechanics lien, or any other liens. So guys, please make sure you do diligence, very important. And feel free. You have questions, private message me or comment, and I will be more than happy to help you guys and answer your comments. Thank you and have a great day. Bye bye.